welcome to the Selfie Crafter. I'm Jessica, and today I have a Wip Chat for you guys. If you're new here and you don't know what WIP stands for, it stands for Work in Progress. And what normally happens during a Wip Chat is that you can bring out your own whips. You could do chores, you could drive around, or even sit on the couch and listen to me ramble about what's been going on during my week. With that being said, I hope you guys are doing well. I do also want to mention that if you guys are ever curious about what canvas I'm working on or what tools I'm using, I usually try and keep a link of everything that I'm working on down below in the description box. If I don't have it, I probably forgot about to add it, or I don't even remember where I bought it from. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that before I get started. I hope you guys are doing well. It's like I said, it's been hot. Every week I'm going to tell you it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. We do have heat advisories this week though. So I'm trying to make sure the kids stay cool, especially since they're now started school. We've survived our first week, but I do regret sleeping in during the weekend. Because we're back to today is Monday, so we're back to school again, and I'm feeling exhausted. I tried to do a Whip and Chat earlier, but I think with me being tired, it's kind of came out jumbled, so I'm going to try and do another Whip and Chat. So I did finish this shoe over here on my first attempt, so either you're going to see this one, or you'll see this one. we'll find out. But yeah, we survived our first week of school. I feel like this this week's Whip and Chat will probably be focused more on Nicole, because I did kind of talk about her a lot on when I was like doing this week's like my first attempt. So this might be more of a focus on her. Not that, I don't love my other two. It's just that a lot has happened with them. With her compared to them. They kind of had the same old experiences or new ones, or it's been fine. But yeah, it's been just a whole week of trying to get used to waking up early. We were doing so well for the first 2 days, and then we kind of slacked off. And Jana started getting back into her old habits of kind of staring out into space in the mornings, and I'm like, okay, here we go again, right? The same old tune, right? So especially today. So now I'm back to like, come on, kid, let's get going, because like today, oh my gosh, like she finally came downstairs around 6:20. Like I was upstairs at 6:15 still, like going, hey kid, come on, let's get downstairs, we got to get going. We got to get started on eating breakfast. She was fast on breakfast though, but then right after, like, she just, I don't know what happened. Like, she finished her breakfast, and then I'm like, okay, make sure you brush your teeth, because I want to put your hair in pigtails today, because it's going to be hot. I want to get your hair out of your face, so that way you don't have to worry about, I keep forgetting I need to close that door all the way, because it does that. It opens slightly and it freaks me out every single time. Sorry. Anyway. So yeah, I tell her I want to get her pigtails put up, so that way we can make sure that, her hair's out of her face, especially since today's heat index is supposed to be 100. It's supposed to feel like 102 today, and they're going to be outside during that portion of the day when it's going to feel like 102. So I want to make sure she stays at least somewhat cool. But she took forever, guys. Like, so right after breakfast, like I said, which was completely fast, I'm like, okay, brush your teeth, get your shoes on, all that fun stuff, and we can get started. And that was probably like 6:30, right? I come to find out, my husband goes upstairs to take his shower. I come to find out at 6:41, she hasn't even started brushing her teeth at all. I don't know what she was doing. My husband says she was in the bathroom, which was weird because she was just in the bathroom before she before she came downstairs. So it's just like, what are you doing that's taking so long, right? I'm like, what are you doing? So I don't know if I'm going to put ABs on that little one or not. We'll figure that out. I know I'm going to put it on most of these shoelaces, but I just need to make sure I'm putting it in the correct spot that I want to put it in. Anyway, so she finally comes back downstairs. She brushes her teeth, apparently, and then she has no shoes on, nothing. So I'm like, just at this point, I'm just brushing her hair and putting it up in a high ponytail. I'm like, sorry, kid, I can't do the things that I said I was going to do because you took too long. I told you this last year. You don't get to have cute little hairstyles. And I even bought her bun stuff, like stuff to put her hair up in buns and stuff like that. Um, I'm like, you don't get cute hairstyles if you don't finish up really quickly, right? You don't if you're not ready by then, because I'm not spending 20 minutes working on your hair if you're going to take so long. So um so yeah, that was pretty much this morning. So hopefully we won't be slacking off anymore. We'll slack off most likely. But yeah, so I feel like this whip and chat will probably focus mostly on Nicole slightly, um, but but I want to probably talk a little bit about what's been going on this week before I kind of go on to them. So I have a weird question for you guys. So the Discord group I'm in, they started doing like talk about books and stuff like that, and I've gotten back into reading a bit. Um, I used to read a lot as a kid, so but I've kind of slowed down a bit, especially after I discovered diamond painting, and then like with the kids, when the kids were born, it was like that was my main focus. But I think like the last time I really read really anything was probably 2 years ago. But yeah, they all started reading. They not all started reading. They've been reading, but they've been talking about other books, and I've gotten interested into it. Like right now, I'm reading a Thorns and Roses, and I haven't finished it. I'm only halfway there, and I have to turn in the book. But that's okay because I had like digital credit on my Kindle stuff. So I only spent $1 for the book. So yay, right? But everyone's also talking about this other book called Fourth Wing. And I asked my husband. He said it was okay. I can buy it later on this week. So that will be most likely one of my purchases I will make this week. But here's my question. So, I have a hard time with audiobooks. I can't focus on them. I'm like this with Whip and Chats too, to be honest. And I don't know if it's just because I'm focusing on what my kids do more than what the Whip and Chat's going on. So like, but I kind of phase out when I'm listening to a Whip and Chat, especially if someone's voice is really soothing and stuff like that, and I'm on that edge of exhaustion where I'm just like trying to stay awake and finish a section. But most of the times it's just I zone out. Like I listen to the person's voice and then all of a sudden I just don't hear anything. I mean, like I'm hearing it, but I'm not comprehending it anymore. And then like all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, what did she say, or what did they say? And then I'm like backtracking to listen to what I miss, and it's frustrating. And I know that if I did an audiobook, it's going to be just like that, but maybe even worse. Like with at least when I'm reading, I can at least stop where I'm at and regroup my thoughts and then come back to it to focus on it more, even though I kind of go all over the place with my reading. But what do you guys do? Do you guys just read if you're the same way, or is like that's just a me thing? I don't know. But yeah, that's my problem right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do, because it's either I'm going to have to stop diamond painting a while to read books, or I'll have to figure out audiobooks. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, because I can't seem to focus on people's voices very well sometimes. But Also, one other thing. So I've, don't know if you guys seen. I did an unboxing last week. Of Asuka, right, from Shimmering Canvases. I started that. And I know I put a clip in like right at the end of some of my work that I've did on it. I only got like two more sections since after I've posted that. Um, but it's so funny because I did an unboxing on that, right? I I finished up everything. I start putting everything back into its original spot. I come downstairs and I'm just like, and my husband's like, "What?" And he knows it's diamond painting related when I'm doing that, and I'm just like, "I don't know what to do." And he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, I go, "I unboxed this, and I really want to work on it." And he goes, "Well, do that." I'm like, "But I can't," because literally the night before, I kitted up Aquarius, um, and I was going to work on her. And then someone suggested like doing this quilting like design on it, so I started working on that. So I got a small section on it, and I'm like, excuse me. So the grass pollen's really bad right now. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. He goes, work on it. You're going to complain about it regardless. You want to work on that? Work on it. So I was like, you know what? Okay, you're fine. Right. Let's do that. So I rolled up Aquarius since I only I did maybe it's like a really small section. I did a small section of it. Um I rolled it up and I put it to the side and I started kidding up Asuka instead. And I worked on her and so I'm going to be working on her slowly because it is confetti heavy. And I kind of did a number, like I said, I did a number with my hand. My hand's really hurting a lot lately, and I'm like trying to make sure my shoulder isn't clicking anymore. It's kind of locking in place. So I gotta take breaks and roll my shoulders and stuff right now. But I'm really enjoying it. I like the fact that there's so many different ABs and crystal drills and everything. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm also using this pen that's also from Shimmering Canvases as well. It's very lightweight, so it's kind of a different feel because it's wood instead of resin. So I'm getting used to the feel of that. It's very weird whenever I go use this pen and then I go downstairs and use my resin pen, so because of the weight differences. So it's like, wait, oh, whoa, that's a little disorienting. So, um, I don't remember if there's a lot more. Like I said, I'm the boring one here. My kids are the one that's the entertainment. um, but it has been pretty much a week for us. All of them have been settling into their new spots in school. But Nicole has taken the cake with this, though, guys. um, so I have done the most amount of paperwork from her as of yet. I mean, like every year there's always paperwork for us to do, but good God, the amount that they sent home, I'm like, why isn't this stuff sent home earlier? Like, or when we doing all the register stuff when we're registering and everything. Oh my goodness, it was just like, and the funny thing was, the second day of school, she comes home with this, or maybe it was the first day of school. I don't remember. It was like one of the days of school. She comes home. I think it was the second day actually. Who cares? But she comes home with this huge packet. And it's just band related stuff that I have to read and sign and permission slips and oh my goodness, it was just like it was a stack just for band alone, and I'm just like, and the day before I already signed up a whole bunch of stuff from her teachers and things like that. So, um, but yeah, we'll get into the band. I'm kind of skipping ahead. So first day of school, I talked to you guys about how they went on my last Whip and Chat, and I was like getting ready to go. I was prepping to go to pick up the kids, and that went smoothly with Michael and Jaina. So it was like, it didn't take long. We waited till the normal amount of time, like we did last year. We just wait till school lets out, and then we wait like another 5 minutes or so. So we go pick them up. They were so excited because they're now in the big kids pickup area. And then my husband was like, okay, I'm going to drop you off. And I'm like, no, I want to go see Nicole. See, I shouldn't have said that. So, but I said, no, I want to go and I want to see Nicole, right? And he goes, okay, well, we'll go see Nicole. We'll pick her up, right? So we get there, we pull in, and there's just already a huge line. So their school gets out 30 minutes after Michael and Jana's school does. So it's just like, okay, it's going to be a 30-minute wait, and then hopefully the line pulls up. We didn't know how dismissal was going to work or anything like that. I'm not sure how, like, the dismissal, I'm not going to tell you guys too many details about that. So, but I'm not liking how it doesn't feel that smooth. But anyway, but it cemented our decision on what we did later on, how to pick her up. But yeah, we waited 30 minutes, and we pulled in, and we're like the last car before it starts becoming part of the road, right? Going into the actual part of the road. So we were like the last car. So we waited 30 minutes before school lets out, and then it takes 30 minutes from that point on, once school lets out, to get to the front of the school. We waited over an hour just to get her home, and my husband's like, no, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna give her phone, and we're going to let her know when we're on our way, and we'll pick her up later, like a little bit later. So yeah, she's still going to have to wait 30 minutes after school either way, but at this point we won't have to be in line for an hour. We'll be at home, and then he's going to leave about maybe a few minutes, not like 10 minutes before it's like 30, a whole 30 minutes kind of thing. And that seems to work a bit better. He still has to wait, but it's not as long anymore. So, but she's grumpy about that. She likes it, but she's grumpy about it because it's such a long wait. They don't have benches. Everyone has to just stand and wait around. And she's just like, I'm tired. And I'm like, I understand. And she goes, no one, one of the things is that they can sit on the ground, but there's ants, so everyone fights for the prime spot. And she doesn't get it because it's these two boys who's been getting it all week. So I'm like, I'm sorry, kid, but this is the way it has to work. I'm like, because you're going to be waiting 30 minutes regardless. I'm like, because we pick up your brother and sister, and then we go on the way there, you're still waiting. I'm like, it's just, that's how overcrowded the school is. And segue, speaking of overcrowded, she will have no locker. So I don't know if I mentioned that before or not, but yeah, she does not have a locker. None of the sixth graders will have a locker at all. So she's got to carry everything in her bag, which kind of sucks. Her backpack will come with her to each class. So, I mean, like, it's a good thing, but at the same time, it just kind of sucks because it's just like all of the notebooks, all of the folders, her tablet, everything has to come with her to each class. And I still don't know about the books. I don't know if she's going to be getting books. She'll find out this week if she has to carry books between classes too. But on top of that, because of band, so here's the band thing. So band, she's required to take her instrument home every day, and she can't drop it off at the band room at all. So she has to carry her instrument. Her clarinet case has to come with her to every class, along with her huge backpack. I'm just like, that's a lot for a sixth grader. I think I feel like that is quite a bit for them to make a sixth grader carry stuff. So like I said, I have a few complaints, but I mean, like, I can't just like, right? And then on top of that, this is the one that I'm a little peeved about. I'm like, there's a couple things where I'm like, so I get the beginning of the school year list stuff. Everyone gets the school year list, like, of what to do. I got it from the Facebook, their Facebook page. They post, like, this is what sixth graders need to bring. This is what seventh graders, eighth graders. So all it said on that sixth grade list said earbuds. I'm like, okay, I can get her earbuds. I'll get her the same earbuds I've been buying, that I get her. Like, sometimes I get her headphones, sometimes I get her earbuds, but I'll buy the same ones that I buy her normally from in grade school, right? It won't be a problem. It'll, whatever, right? Nope, wrong. So the first day of school comes and she brings home the list again, but it's a different list. It's not like the same thing that's on the school. So I'm looking over this list, and it's the teacher's personal list instead. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? And it's like, Kleenex, Lysol wipes, pencils. I'm like, yeah. And then it's like some of the same stuff that they require that you buy from, like, what the school said before. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is the same stuff. And then I see earbuds, right? I see parentheses with the earbuds, right? It says wireless or USB-C. Are you kidding me? Because the earbuds that I bought her were just those earphone jack ones. I'm like, so I spent money on earbuds that won't work for her tablet. I'm a little upset, just a tad. So she's using those for her tablet, a home personal tablet, and I gave up my Bluetooth earbuds, so I don't have one anymore. So I gave her my rechargeable ones. They are now paired to her tablet, and so that way that's working. But she's kind of grumbling because it's pink, and I'm like, look, it's a rose gold pink, so I'm like, look, I didn't have many color options when I picked this. Just deal with it, kid. Just deal with it. I'm like, I had to deal with it. You can deal with it. I'm like, I'm not buying brand new ones for you. I don't even know if you're going to lose these ones. I want to see how you act with this before I even buy you something really nice and new. I know that sounds mean, but at the same time, this is the same kid who has broken her headphones like several times over the last few years. Like, for just last year alone, like, I had to replace all of their headphones at least twice. I'm like, I'm going to be a bit more on the precautious side. Let me see. X, I think. Yep, here we go. So that's one thing I'm a little, a little mad, because it's just, I don't like wasting money on things, and especially since, I had to spend a lot of money on a lot of school stuff, so that could have been going to something else. Along the same lines of school supplies, Michael comes home and tells me that he needs pencils. Why haven't I packed him pencils? I'm like, because it's not on the requirements list. And he goes, yes, it is. And I'm like, no, it's on the wish list. This year, normally what I do, I buy stuff both on the wish list and on the requirements list. But it's just like, because of like how much I had to spend with clothes and shoes and everything else, I'm like, I'll just buy the wish list stuff a little bit later throughout the year, because we do like to try and help out to help replenish the supplies and stuff like that. So I was like, it's okay if I don't, help with the supplies at the very beginning this time around, right? But he was like, I'm required to have 3 pencils in my pencil pouch at all times. I'm like, and then I have to share my pencils with everyone, right? And I'm like, well, okay. Because what it sounds like is like there's like a container that all the pencils are on the table and they have to just share. And he goes, I don't want to share. Those are my pencils. If you give me my pencils. I'm like, no, dude. Whenever I send in pencils or something, those are usually meant to be shared between the class. The stuff that I label that has your name is stuff that you keep for yourself. And it's just like, it was a lot of back and forth between I'm like, look, I'll get you pencils in a little bit. I had pencils. I always buy a stockpile of pencils, especially since they lose pencils all the time at home. So I have to have a stockpile. So I'm like, look, I'll give you some pencils, but I'm going to tell you right here, the teacher didn't require them. It was on her wish list, and it was like, there's times where it's like you don't want to, there like you don't want to even push it. You don't want to, it's not a fight worth, trying to win. That was one of the things I was just like, let's just drop it. It's like it's a battle of the wills, and no one's going to win, and we're both going to get upset. Let's just drop it, right? Um, so, and then, like, of course, next day, Jana's like the same thing. Like, I need pencils too. I'm like, oh my god. So, they got pencils in their pencil pouches. So, I'm like, okay, here. Just have this, right? And then I also gave Nicole, like, a mechanical pencil. And she's just, like, going on, like, she's supposed to have all this stuff in her backpack. I'm like, because when I found out that she has to carry everything, I wanted to lighten her load a little bit, because she had a 24 pack of pencils. I'm like, you're supposed to carry all these at all times? She goes, yes, we're supposed to make sure we always have a supply of pencils. I'm like, all right, here, we're going to put just a few pencils in here. You have 3 mechanical pencils already in here. Let's just put a couple of these pencils. And then she goes, I don't have any lead for those mechanical pencils, by the way, because these are her old mechanical pencils that she wanted to just put in. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I got you covered. Luckily I do have a supply of mechanical pencil lead. So, but I just never let the kids have it because, they would just go through it like crazy. So I'm like, okay, I can help you with that. But I took out like the packets of Sharpies and highlighters and all sorts of stuff. I'm like, we can whittle this down for just a few. You don't need to carry every single one. This can be your refill list. We'll just put this in this area, and that can just, like, whenever you need to refill, you can do that and put that in your pencil pals. Right? Oh my goodness. Because I'm trying to if she has to carry everything, I don't want her to, I'm trying to lighten a little bit. Let's see, where's that letter P? There we go. So yeah, that's just one of the things I was doing. But the second thing that I'm kind of little about with school is with the band stuff. So in band class, like I said, she has to carry her instrument everywhere. They don't allow the instruments to go into like, they don't have a holding room at all for the instruments, which is a little weird because, I know different times, but I had a holding room for my instruments, even though it was my personal bought one. It still went into. We were still allowed to hold it into in their holding rooms. So, no, she has to take it with her. And then we were getting, like, messages from the teacher that kids were leaving it, and it's demerits too. So she'll have demerits taken from her if she does not leave, if she doesn't take her stuff with her. And she also has to make sure she has 3 for clarinet reeds in her clarinet case at all times, has to have her book, her music folder, and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, the demerits thing are weird, but, I get it, whatever. But what bothers me is the shared music folder, right? It doesn't bother me, but it bothers me. So, because I've been in band before, I know that there's limited space, so usually you share music, right? But I remember, and of course, different time, right? I remember when I was in band, we had our own music that we could take home and practice on, right? And so that, because we're supposed to practice music anyway, like on like for concerts and things like that. So I remember being able to have a copy of that music to bring home. Well, it sounds like they're only going to have one music to share between 2 people, and if you miss school and you have the folder, like the shared music folder, it is the onus is onto the parent to bring said folder into the school to drop it off, so that way the other student will be able to have music, or else my kid will receive a demerit. And I'm like, that I don't particularly agree with. Um, because like there's a lot of variables with that. Like, well, what if all of us are sick? I'm not going to be feeling like up for it to go all the way to the school because, like I said, how awful it is to trying to get to that school right now. Like with how crazy crowded it is. Like even now, like we've gotten into a routine like for the first week where we drop the twins off and we immediately go to the school and we wait 20 minutes before the school doors open, and it's a big line by the time we get there, and the school doesn't open, when we get there it's like 40 minutes before school starts there. So, and there's already a line because there's other people from the other surrounding elementary schools who drop off their children and they're starting for, they're doing the same thing we're doing. So I'm just like, that's a lot to try and make us to get into, to do, right? And I'm just like, I'm not particularly agreeable on that thing. So if we do have to share music, I think what I will do is like just make a copy of it and then have her give the shared music folder to the other student. So that way, and then she can just still carry the music with her too, so she'll always have a copy. So I feel like that's the better option, to be honest. I'm just like, you're expecting us to also and it's weird because it feels like one of the things is like she will be practicing the music at home. We're required to practice music at home, which yeah, I agree with completely. So wouldn't she have a sheet of music that she's supposed to work on? But yeah, that's just I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being weird about it or not. Um, I have one more thing before I go more into school stuff. So my new neighbors, right? I thought they were all college age students. I'm a little wrong. It looks like they are all. It's actually a family of five. So there's a mom and dad. And it looks like the dad's kind of like a military kind of thing, which is weird. Because all of them still do loud music, right? But it's like it's three college age students and then like the parents, right? And I'm just like, you get the noise has quieted down a little bit, but every night you can hear them come home. You can hear all of them come home because their music on from their car is loud. It's like, dude, you don't need to have it busting your eardrums because they come home like 11 o'clock, like some and I don't know. I might be wrong that it's three college age students because one of them might be a high schooler, like a senior, but So I might be a little bit wrong, but they all are like at least they all drive their own cars, so it's like, um, but yeah, it's just like it's bothersome, especially like when someone comes home at 1 in the morning and you hear boom, 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 boom from their music, the bass from their music, and it's just like, can you just not have that loud, please? I know I'm a grumpy butt, but I'm going to bed early for once. Goodness, and it's a school time. um, I mean, I'm grumpy around the weekends too, but I'm not as grumpy because we get to try and sleep in. But yeah. So anyway, so Nicole, this is all about Nicole, right? So I'm gonna take a sip of my soda. I need a little bit of caffeine today. I'm just like, today's a soda day. Sorry about coughing and everything. But let's see. So what has happened? So we've been having a little bit of drama with Nicole. So the first couple of days have been fine. She's just been griping about the fact that she's tired, which is understandable. I've been sending her to bed earlier than what we said her bedtime was going to be, which she isn't exactly happy about, but at the same time, I'm like, if you're so tired, sorry, if you're so tired, then you really need to catch up on sleep. and she's not happy about that. I'm like, I'm sorry, kid, but I understand that carrying a backpack with all the stuff and everything, but she wants to make it into a competition. So, cause one day I was I was griping about the fact that I was tired to my husband because I haven't really my sleep schedule's been kind of messed up at times, and one time I didn't go to bed until past 1 o'clock. It took a while for me to fall asleep. And Nicole's like, yeah, I'm exhausted too. I'm like, yeah, but kid, have you been dealing with not three, 4 to 5 hour sleep schedules? And then she goes, no, but I'm doing all of this, and that's a lot worse. And I'm like, it's one of those fights you don't want to try and win. It's, another battle of the wits. And I'm just looking at her going, this is not a competition. Stop trying to compete. I'm exhausted because that's really what's been going on. And having been either sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night. So and unless it's the weekend I'm able to sleep a little bit. Although Sunday morning, oh my gosh, I went to bed 1:30 ish on like Saturday morning, Sunday morning kind of thing. I go to bed and I'm thinking, I'm going to pass out, right? And I did. I sonked hard, right? Uh-uh. Guess what happened? I woke up at 6:15 that day. I woke up yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I woke up at 6:15. And I had to scroll on my phone a little bit before finally I felt like I could go back to sleep around 6:40. I'm like, and then I woke up at 9:30 and I was like up for today. I'm like, okay, that kind of sucked. um, but let's see. Friday. I am jumping a little bit. I'm sorry, but Friday, like the week did catch up to me. I did my unboxing, by the way. I uploaded I did the unboxing earlier in the week, and then I decided to do that little tiny clip like on Friday morning. And then I uploaded everything. I rendered, uploaded, and then once I posted it, I went back to bed and I passed out until it was close to 1 o'clock. So I didn't do any diamond painting up here at all on the Friday. My body caught up with me and said, no, you sleep now. And I'm like, okay, I sleep now. But anyway, back to Nicole. Let's see. Yeah, so she's been a little bit, I wouldn't say a drama or a diva, but it feels like it at times. She's just being a preteen. um, on a couple of days, like it was like third day, literally third day of school. She wakes up and she's not feeling good, and I'm like, great, because I just signed all those papers, saying that I will do my best to keep my kid in school, yada yada yada. We're only allowed the parental the attendance thing has completely changed this year, so we're only allowed 10 parental excuses now, at all for the entire year. I'm like, ugh, with the amount that my kids get sick, that's going to be rough, right? And she's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? And it's like, she feels nauseous. I'm like, okay, is there any other symptoms? No, just she doesn't feel good. She's tired and she feels nauseous. I'm like, okay. And I'm like checking to see if she has a fever. She doesn't. I'm like, are you going to throw up? No. She doesn't really eat much of her breakfast. And I'm like, I hate to say it, because I do my best to, like, if my kid does the little bit of a notice most of the times, I'm like, okay, you can stay home. I give him I give him a chance, especially since last year kind of came out the same way. I think it was like the first week of school last year, all three of my kids came down with a stomach bug. If I remember correctly, it was like the first or second week. And I'm like, I don't want that to be a repeat. But it looked, to me, I was like, oh boy, this is going to become a repeat of last year. But she was like, I don't feel good. And I was just like, ugh. All right, here's what we can do. You're going to go to school. And if you do get sick, you definitely call us and let us know, right? And she's like, can I bring an umbrella? It's going to rain. I'm like, no, it's not going to rain by the time you get out of school. You'll be fine. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. Please stop fighting with me. um, but but yeah, so we go to the schools. We drop off Michael and Jana. She starts grumbling, like especially if Michael kind of goes 100 miles an hour no matter what, and she's just like sniping at him. She's just griping, and I'm like, I know you're not feeling good, but that doesn't give you the right to be nasty to your siblings. Excuse me. And then she goes, yeah, but I'm not feeling good. I'm like, I understand that. I'm like, do you feel unwell enough that you can't go to school, actually? Do you want to just stay home? She goes, no, I'll go. I'll wear this mask. I'm like, okay. Um, then we drop them off. We get to her school, and she's still, bad attitude, right? I'm trying to help her out. And then we get to a point where I'm like, do you think we should just go home? And my husband's like, you should have told me this, earlier, right? He already knew that she's not feeling great. I'm like, she's acting like she's going to throw up. He goes, no, I think she'll be fine. And I'm like, are you sure? And he goes, yeah, she'll be fine. We're going to drop her off. I'm like, okay. So we do that. I'm literally waiting on it. We get the storm that comes through that she wanted to have an umbrella for. Like I said, it was a morning storm, right? A morning storm. So, and then I get a phone call and my heart drops. I'm like, oh no! I was like dreaded phone call because I see that it's like from the school district, right? I answer it and immediately go, oh, it's an automatic voice message telling me that the middle school has experienced a power outage. I'm like, okay, and that they'll be working on getting power very soon. I'm like, okay, okay. Okay. And then an hour later, I get another phone call thinking, oh no. And it's just basically the power has been restored. I'm like, okay, good, 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 good. um, no, but she came home like later on that day. My husband goes and picks her up. I'm working on dinner. I'm working on everything, and she comes home and she's all like, "Hi, mommy," and I'm like, well, you sound better. She goes, I feel so much better. And I'm like, that's great. I'm glad that you're feeling so much better. So, I give her a snack. We're chit-chatting. And then I go and start working on my, that mermaid that I've been working on, right? And all of a sudden, she's back to groaning and, I'm not feeling good. I'm like, what the heck? You literally was just... You just said that you were fine. And then it's just like, I don't know if she was just trying to get pity points or something. But she goes, I spent all my time working. I was on my feet all day. I'm like, really? All day? She goes, I had to walk to several classes. It was awful. I'm like, okay, give me a break. Give me a break, kid. um, it was like, I think it was what was it, the first or second day of school when we picked up, first day maybe, no, yeah, first day of school when we picked her up, by the way. Her not best friend, but one of her friends was there, because she was getting picked up too, and asked if we could do a sleepover. I'm like, I'm gonna have to ask your mom about that, because, it's like, I'm not saying yes, hey, she was like, hey, can I come over? I'm like, I'm gonna have to ask your mom, because she was expecting to come in the car and everything. I'm like, your mom's about to pick you up. No. But they arranged a sleepover, by the way, because on the day where she was so sick, she also tells us that her best friends and her made a plan to do a sleepover this weekend. I'm like, oh, she goes, yeah, her mom says it's okay, so let's do the sleepover. I'm like, you didn't even ask us if it was okay. Well, you told me that you have to get permission from her mom. I'm like, yes, but I also have to talk to her mom. So we had to do a speed arrangement. We're like, okay, and she's like, yeah, I said it was okay, and then we're like, all right, Friday or Saturday, right? And then arranging time, what we're gonna have for dinner and everything. So we're like, okay, we'll do all that. And then Nicole perks back up, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, back in a better mood." I'm like, "Yeah, I had a feeling she's not, not doing too awful, right?" um, but I'm looking at her planners. All my kids have planners now, so I'm like looking through to make sure no one's missing anything. She tells me that she has homework. I'm like, "Okay, when's it due?" She goes, "Tuesday." I'm like, "Okay, why aren't you doing it?" She goes, because I need you to take a picture of me. I'm like, wait, what? So I'm supposed to take a picture of her and print said picture so she can post it for her, her, for her math thing. And I'm like, what if the parent doesn't have a printer or anything to do this? I'm like, man, these schools are whack. And that's another thing. She has copied my language because I keep hearing her saying, that's whack now. I'm like, oh boy. um, but, yeah, yeah, she was completely better the next day, by the way, on the fourth day of school. That was a Friday, so she was completely better by Friday. Friday comes around, she's all, smiles and everything. I'm like, I'm glad that you're feeling great. She goes, yeah, I'm feeling so much better. It's awesome. I'm like, okay. And I'm just like expecting her to come back and I don't feel good, right? But no, she's fine. So, she comes home all ecstatic, right? That day. Husband picks her up and she comes home and she's like, hi, Mom. So most of the things that she's been doing, by the way, she comes home and she immediately goes upstairs a lot. So I barely see her for a good bit. And I'm like always trying to get her attention a lot. But today she comes home, not today, but Friday she comes home and she's like, Mommy, guess what? I'm like, what? And she goes, I made a new friend. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and hoping that she'll talk more about her new friend and everything. And nope, she goes, I want to go see her right now. Daddy said it was okay. I'm like, wait, what? And apparently this new kid lives like right next, not next door, but like on the street, across from us. And I'm like, what? Because I was just like not expecting it. Is that apparently this kid is in her band class. They both play clarinet. They both like space and cats, and she thinks Nicole is totally super cool. That's what I got. I'm like, okay. And she goes, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna visit her. She said it was okay to come visit. I'm like, okay. She goes, I'm supposed to come over at 4:00. I'm like, but you literally just got home. And she goes, well, Daddy said it was okay, and I want to go see her. I'm like, okay. All right. She goes, yeah, my friend's going to be going outside at 4:00, so that way she can wave me down, so I know exactly where she is. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, don't forget your phone, Oh, and speaking of, all right, I know I'm going into different directions. So my husband and I are talking about maybe getting her a new phone because we haven't discussed like if we want to just cancel her subscription with Gab Wireless or like because I can't upgrade the phone yet for until February, but it's obvious she needs to have like an actual phone instead of the watch. Um, because all the watch does is just like she does voice to text instead, and I know she wants to text and send pictures and stuff like that to her buddies. So we've been discussing like either we cancel that and then go and get a new phone, like I think it's like the Gab phone plus, so that way I can make sure she still doesn't have access to social media. I know how everyone is. This is how I feel with my kid. I don't feel like she's mature enough to handle social media yet. So it's either I do this or I was looking at my phone my phone plan because I'm with Google Fi. I was looking to see if maybe I could just add her to my account, like, and I was looking at it. It was like one of the phones was like $40, but the thing is trying to block out all the social media and all the apps and the internet. I'm just like, I know that a bunch of her friends have, are okay with their phones, but at the same time I know my kid can't handle that kind of stuff just yet, and like you can, I already see how she acts like when now that we have a TV in her room, and she has a tablet. I'm like, eh. So I don't want to add that just yet, not until she's a little bit more older, maybe 14 or so. So, but I do know that we need to, she needs to a new phone, because like the phone that I have, it's like she only has up to 10 contacts, and it's supposed to be up to 25 now, but the software won't go through, for her on her watch because it's an older model. So it keeps saying that she has 24 contacts, but she has literally like seven. So I'm like deleting old people's phone numbers that she hasn't talked to as frequently, so she can talk to, her new friends. And I feel bad because I'm pretty sure her old friends are going to be calling her anytime soon, and it's going to be like, what the heck, right? So, but yeah, she met her new friend. Take another sip of soda. Sorry. She met her new friend, and I thought that was in. I told her, come home at 5 because I didn't want her to overstay her welcome. I look at my phone to see where she's located just to make sure she's okay, and she's exactly where she's going to be. She said she was going to be on a, certain street, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh wow, that is really close. That's kind of crazy. um, and she comes home an hour later, but she brings her friend with her. But it's so funny because like she had her BFF lives in the same neighborhood, but lives further away. But it's kind of different. The differences between these two. So her best friend, and her are complete opposites, but they balance each other out. Like she really calms Nicole down. Like this one girl. This girl though, she is basically a carbon copy of Nicole, like in personality, like in every way. I'm like, good lord, they are like two peas in a pod. I'm like, oh my gosh. So she comes over, and I'm like embarrassed because Nicole hasn't cleaned her room. I told her that she needed to clean her room because she's gonna have a sleepover the next day. That didn't happen, unfortunately. Not Nicole's fault, but we had a sleepover the next day, and Nicole was supposed to clean her room, and she said she would when she get home. I wasn't expecting her to bring company over, so the house wasn't as clean as I wanted it to be. So she comes upstairs with her brand new friend. I'm up here already, and I hear wow, and I come outside. I forgot, like, so in my hallway, is where my diamond painting stash is. That's where, okay, my stomach is growling. I really need to get some food after this. Sorry, guys. So I have, my diamond painting stash in the hallway, and it's a pretty big stash. It's stack piled. And she just goes. She turns to me, and basically, hi, Nicole's mom, right? And I'm like, hello, and she goes, Nicole was right, you do have a lot of diamond paintings. I'm like, yeah, I do. And then she, without skipping a beat, she goes, that's okay. My great grandma's crazy too. I'm like, that's nice. I'm like, I'm not that crazy. But then Nicole, of course, has to go, how much money have you spent on diamond paintings, mommy? I'm like, we don't talk about that, kid. It's like, geez, I'm getting called out all sorts of ways right now. And I'm like, enough. Right? I'm not gonna discuss my spitting money with you. No. But then she and her friend, hang out in the their room for a bit before it was time for her to go, and I started dinner and everything. Then the next day, she I get a phone call from the kid from the mom whose kid's supposed to come over for the sleepover, telling me that her daughter and her son have done something, and she doesn't feel like her kid deserves a sleepover because of this, whatever it was. I don't know what it is. But she says that she doesn't want to reward bad behavior, so no sleepover. We're gonna reschedule it. I'm like, okay, I completely understand, right? We've threatened Nicole with the same stuff too when Nicole's getting an attitude and acting too big for her britches, kind of thing. Nicole does this a lot. So whenever there's someone new, in the family dynamic that show up, like be it friend, someone else, she acts like she's the hot stuff, right? She knows it all. She's better than everyone, kind of thing. She has that she kind of does that. So I understand that. So we have to always make sure, hey, you can't act like that. So she goes. She was sad for a split second, and then she goes, "Can I invite my friend over?" I'm like, okay, yeah, just let me know, right? And I'm just like, yeah, just let me know. It'll be fine. Just give me a heads up, right? She doesn't give me a heads up, guys, and she tells me like literally, oh, my friend's coming over in 30. I'm like, I need to clean up the house. I was going to clean up the house today, Saturday regardless, but I kind of was like, okay, I'll take it easy because her friend isn't going to show up anymore. Now a new friend's showing up. So I had to do some speed cleaning. Adulting sucks, guys. It really does. I don't know if I want to put ABs in that section or if I'm going to put... Let's put the other section in. But yeah, her friend comes over. They have a blast. They go over here first, then they go back to their friend to her house instead. And then later on that night, they play Fall Guys together. And I was a bit of a jerk, guys. I kind of snickered and laughed because of how my daughter talks. My daughter does running commentary on games. Like I'm always like on her to tell her not to be so loud, but she is, and she can't help herself. And I'm just like, let's not be so loud, kid, okay? But she's loud. Actually, I think I want to put ABs in there. I'm gonna pick this back out. I was like, I'm kind of looking at it and going, no, that section does need ABs, actually, that little area. I'll just put it all in this little tray here. So she and her friend, they're making noise, and I'm like, keep it down, Nicole, because Nicole is on her phone. She's on her watch, so it's speakerphone, and I'm like, it's not like I'm eavesdropping, guys. She's literally like next to our office. I couldn't listen to anything for 2 hours because of how loud she was. I could hear her over the headphones and everything. And at one point, my husband and I just kind of made it into the game. Because she kept going, dude, bruh. And my husband and I whispers quietly underneath our breath, bruh. Like that. Just, I know, we were being jerks. I'm sorry. It was kind of funny, though, in a way. And then, like, she realizes what we're doing, and she goes, stop eavesdropping on me! This is an A-B conversation! Copying what we say, see your way out! And I'm just like, kid, there is not a private conversation between you and your friend when you are as loud as you are being. I'm like, you want a private conversation? You talk quieter. And she was not happy about that. But then the next day she had her friend over again. Of course, no notice again. And I had to hurry up and take a shower because I was expecting yesterday to kind of be like a little bit of a relaxation type thing. And I was a little perturbed about the fact that I had to stop what I was doing and get like showered and dressed. I was like... So I think next week we're probably going to take it a little bit easy on that. I know that she's excited. I kind of gave her a little bit of leeway, but she's kind of gotten like the sassy attitude thing that I was telling you about, and I'm not here for it. But yeah, it's just like I was starting to get sensory overload. Yesterday, like with everyone, it's just the noise and all the kids, and everyone just kind of just being a little bit too loud. Let's see. Do I want to try and work on this or just save this for later? I'm already starting to get into the hour mark. I'm gonna save that for later, guys. But I'll stop it here because I don't want to go too long. But yeah, it's just been, it's like I said, we're just getting into the swing of school and everything. I'm glad Nicole's made a friend, but I'm not glad that her attitude on some stuff has gotten a little bit too. Because one of the things that happened like this morning was that I'm trying to remind her because she forgot to charge her tablet last night. I'm glad I had an alarm to tell me, hey, charge your tablets, because she would have been out of luck. And so this morning, I'm just reminding her, I'm like, hey, do you have your folders? Do you have your tablet? Do you have your clarinet? And when I asked about that, she goes, yes! And then my husband turns around, because we're all getting ready in the car, and goes, hey, you forgot to charge your tablet last night. Don't give your mom guff. She's trying to make sure that you're ready for school. And she goes, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like, she's also very grumpy in the morning. She is an extreme grump. But I mean, like, she's still a good kid. As much as I gripe about her, she's still a good kid. Just some of the stuff that she does, it's just we're getting through it. But I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.